For future technologies, we're looking at this more as an opportunity for connectivity transformation. Thematically, we're seeing a lot of money being spent in AI and compute in the United States, over $1 trillion. Um, we've seen in the last year actually scaling adoption of private 5G across multiple vertical markets. We're actually going to have a record year this year. So I'd say, like in the current phase of things, we're seeing good adoption, maturity in terms of the radio access network equipment, the core, and then most importantly, the devices. But when we look out beyond, this past year, which we've had, we're thankful for the success that we've had with our customers. We really think that the tailwinds are behind us with this AI modernization project. Uh, we believe that critical U.S. infrastructure is going to see huge investments in AI modernization, lots of devices being deployed, and private cellular is going to be an important part of providing that secure, connected infrastructure to enable that AI modernization. So we're really excited about that from a future perspective. But in the last 12 months, we've had great success, seen large adoption across lots of vertical markets, and excited to speak about some of those projects. As a system integrator, it's important that you have the adequate experience in each of these vertical markets to be able to operate safely, deliver with quality, and have domain expertise in those vertical markets. So we've been investing for 25 years on connectivity transformation, but specifically in the vertical markets, we have domain expertise for the last 15 years building private cellular networks in these critical U.S. infrastructure markets. So experience is a key aspect. We learn every day. We apply those learnings tomorrow. But our processes from that experience are really what separates us in this point in market. We believe that we've crossed the chasm in terms of scaling. So having the experience and then having the processes to scale up from a proof of concept to a single site production to multi-site, we really believe that our experience and process differentiates us. And then ultimately, it's a mentality. We want to be the trusted partner for the customers, help them modernize their connectivity to meet the needs of their business, because their primary business is energy, is manufacturing. So it's important that in our role that we're the trusted partner. And a good example of that is the Hyundai Motor Group project that we were engaged in Savannah, Georgia. It's a greenfield manufacturing site that we were awarded. We did the design, we furnished the equipment, deployed it. It's been up for a year now, but that's 5 million square feet of indoor private 5G at its completion, and will support up to 1,000 autonomous mobile robots. But having that experience, having the processes and the mentality to be the trusted partner has allowed us to win, great projects like that and deliver really advanced use cases in the most sophisticated environments. So we're thankful for those opportunities, and hope to continue to do more of that. For us, we're always looking at it from a total life cycle management perspective, and what we want to deliver for the clients is highest quality and lowest total cost of ownership through the whole life cycle. You have to think of the indirect and direct costs, but focusing on where are we trying to cover, what are the capacity requirements, and then also resiliency. Most of the networks we're deploying are dedicated private networks where we're thinking about frequency resiliency. So maybe having two different frequency channels from an RF perspective. We're thinking about the core side of things. We're doing high availability cores to keep the uptime. In the case that we're using CBRS, we're deploying on-prem a domain proxy to enhance the resiliency of the CBRS. So we're in these complex environments like the Port of Long Beach. We're doing a project with Total Terminal International, which is owned by Till Group, one of the world's largest port operators. But if you think about their environment, they're there in the Port of Long Beach. Their neighbor is the Navy. So we have to, evaluate those conditions from an RF perspective. And then their business is moving around metallic containers and basically building walls of metal. And the modernization that's going on there is their terminal operating system. So similar to other markets that have ERP or MES systems in manufacturing. In the port market, they're modernizing their terminal operating system to allow them to move containers off of the ships into their yard efficiently. And that life cycle is done through that terminal operating system. So for us as the system integrator, we have to design the coverage, we have to understand the application layer, and then we have to get into details. We're putting industrial routers on these large lift devices that will be outside in the elements, near the salt water, experiencing all different types of weather. So getting into specifics, even on the physical architecture side for mounting, sun shields, things of that nature. All of the accumulation of all those items, the RF layer, the core redundancy, and then how we're handling the devices, that increases the uptime, but ideally keeps the operation running. 6 nines of availability for the operation, ideally with the redundancy, to allow them to make money in their primary business. We want to make sure that our network is there providing the uptime that is needed for them to drive their core business and not have the connectivity be the challenge point. Generally, we're seeing, macro adoption based upon big digital transformation projects pushing into the different verticals. So in the port market, we're seeing terminal operating systems driving the demand at where they want to enable that digital transformation and they need the connectivity to connect the lift devices. In a manufacturing environment like Hyundai Motor Group, it's the autonomous mobile robots that are really providing a lot of high value, and the connectivity is critical to provide that mobility aspect for the robotics. But as we move into the energy sector, there's multiple different types of opportunities there. We have multiple Fortune 500 customers in the energy sector where we're providing the connectivity transformation at the petrochem sites. These are dense metallic environments that they have controlled working conditions with the environmental conditions there. So we have to provide pervasive connectivity there for digital transformation to connect the workers. And then with that, we're also trying to enhance safety. So it's operational efficiency and safety driven. But like moving into like kind of a more straightforward market, when we look at warehouse and logistics facilities, it's a similar theme to the digital transformation where it's a warehouse management system that's modernizing those facilities. So we're doing connected worker for tablets, smartphones, Zebra scanners to do asset tracking. And then also not everybody has robotics. So we'll actually do the connectivity for the fork trucks to enable the work orders to go out from that WMS system to the workers operating those fork trucks. So depending upon the vertical market, we need to build these private networks to be fit for purpose. And to the prior point of providing highest quality, lowest total cost of ownership over the lifespan of those networks. We have a range of customers in that respect. So some customers are deploying just IT-based systems. So think of this as an extension of their LAN. So the stakeholders there are the cybersecurity folks and the IT folks. But in more advanced deployments, we're seeing opportunities to deploy 5G SA in these advanced deployments and using 5G slicing to actually segment the network so that we could support both IT and OT on the same 5G infrastructure. Those things are very calculated decisions that we have to get alignment between IT, OT, and cybersecurity. But we're starting to see the value of 5G SA present itself in a way where we can do network segmentation and actually have IT and OT on the same infrastructure, which helps drive back the ROI and drive adoption. So we're really excited about that, continuing to mature and create more opportunities. We see it more as a journey. Some of these customers have been customers over time, so we're doing this connectivity transformation journey. We've invested a few $1 million into a living lab in Atlanta. We have a person on staff, Gary Hill, who spent 30 years on the customer side as the CTO of Georgia Pacific. But in that environment, we basically have a customer brownfield environment where we have all different types of connectivity, all different types of devices. So we're able to demonstrate what a real change in terms of connectivity transformation looks like. So we're able to do that. We do it virtually. We do it in person when we have in-person meetings, but we do that to kind of accelerate the knowledge transfer. We want customers to understand and learn what's possible as fast as possible so that they could evaluate and make decisions. We then took the next step where we created the lab on wheels, where we're able to actually bring the living lab experience to the customer sites. Recently, we brought the living lab up to a port in the New York City area, and within 90 minutes, we're able to stand up a system, port it into their operational environment, and demonstrate what's possible in terms of cellular, what the coverage looks like, but also flatten that learning curve where we're able to get them to understand, a radio is similar to an access point from a Wi-Fi perspective. The core is similar to their controller from a Wi-Fi perspective. Walk them through the element management system. These investments that we've made with the Living Lab and the Lab on Wheels, I think are a differentiator for us in terms of going on that journey. And we've invested our own capital to provide that knowledge up front. And then at that point, if the customer makes a decision to do a proof of concept, they're doing it on a very informed basis. We're trying to define, what is the success criteria of the proof of concept, and then what's the exit criteria, so that as we complete the proof of concept, we can go and deploy ideally convert that pilot site into a production site. Once we're at a single production site, we really want to mature the use cases, the devices, the architecture, the day two support model, partner with the customer, partner with the OEM partner. And then at that point, we have a blueprint that we can go scale. And we then apply the processes that I mentioned earlier and the experience that we have to deploying multiple sites. That's really where we're seeing a lot of activity in 2025 is going from single site, either proof of concepts and production, to multi-site. See, thematically, we're seeing the adoption there as we kind of cross the chasm and get into a more mature state in the market. In 2026, I think there's two things that we should pay attention to as an ecosystem. One is the AI modernization initiative. We want to enable that. We want to make sure that we have great connectivity to secure and connect our critical infrastructure. And then the second opportunity is more around carrier collaboration. A lot of these dedicated private networks have been done on a single FCC spectrum band. But as we go into 2026, I think there's maturation in terms of building networks that will be dedicated private networks on license band provided by carriers, and or hybrid private cellular, public cellular networks that can use technology like MORAN or MOCN. I think in 2026, we're going to see that market mature more and see some scaling in that hybrid network side of things with carrier coordination.